Hi, hope all are fine at your end. In the earlier two videos of chapter number 6, we had studied two life processes, nutrition and respiration. In this video, we will be seeing the next life process, transportation. What is transportation? The act or means of moving molecules or ions across cell membrane or through bloodstream is known as transportation. In general, movement of something from one place to another. Next topic is transportation in human beings. The system which is concerned with the transportation of various substances in animal is called circulatory system. In human being, the transport of nutrients, oxygen, carbon dioxide, hormones, enzymes and excretory substances take place through blood and lymph. Blood is a living red colored liquid connective tissue. The liquid medium of blood is known as plasma, in which blood cells are suspended. Next topic is human heart. The human heart is conical in shape and is of the size of a closed fist. It is situated in the small space between two lungs, slightly towards the left side. The heart is four-chambered in order to prevent mixing of oxygen-rich blood and blood containing carbon dioxide. The upper two chambers are called atria and lower two chambers are called ventricles. The ones on the left are called left atria and left ventricle, whereas ones on the right are called right atria and right ventricle. The walls of the atria are thin while the walls of ventricles are thick. All the four chambers are separated from each other by septa. For the flow of blood from left atrium to left ventricle, there is a bicuspid wall. Similarly, there is a tricuspid wall between the right atrium and right ventricle. These walls prevent backward flow of blood from ventricles to atria. Next topic is how does oxygen enters the blood in the lungs. The deoxygenated blood enters the right atrium through the superior and inferior vena cava. When the right auricles is full of blood and it contracts, the tricuspid valves open under the pressure and the blood is delivered into the right ventricle. When the right ventricle is full of blood and the ventricles contract, the blood is pumped into the pulmonary trunk. Since the tricuspid valve now closes the reopening of it into the auricles, the pulmonary trunk gets divided into right and left pulmonary artery, each of which carries the blood to the lungs for oxygenation. The oxygenated blood returns to the heart via pulmonary vein that empties into the left auricle. When the left auricle contracts, the blood passes into the left ventricle by the opening of bicuspid valve. On the contraction of the left ventricle, the blood is pumped into the aorta, the largest artery in the body. The aorta branches into vessels which transports blood to the heart and all the other body parts. Next topic is blood vessels. These are hollow tubular vessels which conduct the blood from the heart to the tissues and back to the heart. There are three types of blood vessels. First, arteries. Second, capillaries. Third, veins. Arteries. These are thick-walled vessels which carry blood away from the heart. They are elastic in nature and have a narrow lumen and are deep-seated in the body and have no walls in them. The blood passing through the arteries have considerable pressure. Second, capillaries. The arteries divide into arterioles which further divide and redivide into smaller vessels called capillaries. They are the thinnest vessels and their walls are formed of single layer endothelial cells. Next, veins. Veins are thin-walled vessels which bring blood from the body back to the heart. They are larger and hold more blood than the arteries. They have less elastic wall and are less muscular. Next topic is lymphatic system. Lymphatic system is an accessory circulatory system which transports lymph from the intercellular spaces of the tissues to the blood. This system is formed of following components: lymph vessels, lymph nodes. Lymph, it is a straw-colored fluid connective tissue. It is formed from the blood by the passage of substances through the walls of the blood capillaries into the intercellular tissue spaces. It is formed by the process of diffusion and filtration from the blood. It is called extracellular fluid as it lies outside the cell. It consists two parts: plasma, the fluid matrix in which floats the lymphocytes. Lymphocytes are special type of white blood cells which fight against infection. Second, lymph vessels. Lymph vessels have walls that are single-celled in thickness. The lymph vessels join together to form the biggest lymph ducts. The lymph vessels do not have any muscles but have walls that allow only unconditional lymph flow. Lymph is circulated in the body with the help of the action of muscles surrounding the lymph vessels. Next, lymph nodes. Throughout the lymphatic system, the lymph vessels enlarge at certain places to form cavities called lymph nodes. The lymphocytes produce antibodies against bacteria and other germs and attack them. Is transportation in plants. The plants convert solar energy into chemical energy utilizing atmospheric carbon dioxide and water. Other substances which are also required for the building plant bodies will be taken up separately. These substances are absorbed by the roots of the plants from the soil. If the distance between the roots and the leaves are small, energy and raw materials can easily diffuse to all the parts of the plant body. But if the distances are large, the process of diffusion will not be sufficient to provide raw materials in leaves and energy in roots. Thus, a proper transportation system is required in such situation. As plants do not move, the energy requirement of plants is low as compared to animals, which move from one place to the other. In plants, energy stored in the leaves and raw materials absorbed by the roots will be transported to the different parts of the body. Xylem moves water and other substances obtained from the soil, and phloem transports products of photosynthesis from leaves to the other parts of the plants. Next topic is transportation of water. Higher plants possess xylem which is associated with the transportation of water. Water absorbed by the root from the soil is transported to stems, branches, leaves and flowers. The main structural components of xylem responsible for the transport of water are tracheids and vessels. Xylem tissue of all the organs of plants are interconnected, forming a continuous system of water conduction. As the root cells are directly in contact with soil, they take up ions. Due to this, a difference is created between the concentration of these ions between the root and the soil. Water therefore moves into the root from the soil to eliminate this difference. This water movement creates a column of water that is steadily pushed upwards. However, in higher plants, this pressure is not sufficient to move water over the heights. It is commonly found in plants. Plants use another strategy to move water in the xylem upwards to the highest point of the plant body. If the adequate water is available, then the water which lost through the stomata is replaced by the water present in the xylem vessel. In fact, evaporation of water molecules from the cells of a leaf creates a suction which pulls the water from the xylem cells of the roots. The loss of water in the form of water vapor from the aerial parts of the plant is called transpiration. Transpiration also helps in regulation of temperature. Next topic is transportation of food and other substances. Carbohydrates are synthesized in the green leaves by the process of photosynthesis. From the green leaves, these photosynthetic products are transported to the various parts of the plant body. Transportation of photosynthetic products is known as translocation, and it is performed by sieve tubes and sieve cells of vascular tissue known as phloem. Besides the carbohydrates, the phloem transports amino acids, several plant hormones which are synthesized at the shoot and root tips, and other substances. The translocation takes place in both upward and downward direction. Translocation of substances require energy which is obtained from ATP. When the material like sucrose is transferred into phloem tissue, the osmotic pressure of the tissue increases, leading to the entry of water into it. This pressure moves the material in the phloem to tissue which has less pressure. This allows the phloem to move material according to the need of the plant. Next life process is excretion. Excretion is a process by which metabolic waste is eliminated from an organism. In vertebrates, this is primarily carried out by skin, kidneys, and lungs. Next topic is excretion in human beings. The excretory system of human beings consists of kidneys, renal arteries, renal vein, ureters, urinary bladder, urethra. Kidneys. These are two bean-shaped, purplish brown colored structures located in the back of the abdominal cavity. It is the main organ of excretion through which the nitrogenous waste are eliminated in the form of urine. The kidneys contain millions of nephrons which filter the blood to produce urine daily. Second, renal arteries. Two renal arteries constantly transport blood to each of the kidneys. Renal vein. Two renal veins return useful nutrients back to the bloodstreams after filtering the unwanted materials in kidney. Ureters. Two tubes which arise from each kidney and carry in urine to the bladder. Urinary bladder. This is a muscular sac-like structure where urine is stored till it is thrown out. Urethra. This is a short muscular tube that carries urine from the urinary bladder to the outside of the body. Next topic is nephron. Nephron is the structural and functional unit of kidney. Each nephron functions as an independent unit. A nephron has different parts in it. First, Bowman's capsule. This is a cup-shaped structure which is double-walled, in the hollow of which a network of capillaries called glomerulus is present. Glomerulus. This is a mass of blood capillaries with an incoming and outgoing arteriole. The remaining part of the nephron, and it is continuous with the Bowman's capsule. It is lined with ciliated epithelium and differentiated into the following region: proximal convoluted tubule, Henle's loop, distal convoluted tubule. The distal convoluted tubule continues to form the collecting tubule. Several such tubules fuse to form large collecting ducts which pass downwards and pour the urine into the pelvis of the kidney. From the pelvis, the urine moves from the ureter to the urinary bladder. Next topic is process of excretion. Kidney filters the blood coming from the heart, forming urine. This process of urine formation happens in the nephron present in kidneys. This happens in three stages. Filtration. This is the first step in clearing the blood. This occurs in the glomeruli. Blood pressure helps plasma of the blood to pass through the capillary walls in the glomerulus. The plasma contains water, glucose, amino acids, and urea. Second, reabsorption. During this stage, the substances considered necessary in the filtrate travel back into the bloodstream and occurs in the renal tubules. Third, tubular secretion. This is the passage of unwanted substances out of the capillaries directly into renal tubules. This is an additional way of getting waste material into the urine. The urine is passed out of the body by urination process. On an average, the urine output in a healthy person is 1 to 8 liters per day. Urine contains about 95% water and 5% nitrogenous substances, mostly urea, uric acid, etc.